When we think of ancient texts, we usually think of philosophy, maybe some rituals. But what if one of them held a blueprint for a kind of spiritual technology, an actual armor designed to fight forces you can't even see? Well, today we're digging into a pretty amazing secret from the Atharvaveda, a protective shield that isn't made of steel, but of a very surprising and apparently very powerful metal.
Okay, so let's dive right in with the big question of the day. We all know the Vedas are packed with powerful chants and mantras, right? But the Atharvaveda points to a specific physical element, a metal, that you're supposed to use as a shield against evil. So, what do you think it is? This need for protection, it's as old as humanity. We've always built walls and fences to keep out the things we can see. But what about the threats we can't see? Things like bad luck, negative energy, or even malevolent spirits. That search for an armor against the invisible, that's really where our story begins. So to get our answer, we've got to go straight to the source, the Atharvaveda. Now, while it's known as the fourth Veda in the Hindu scriptures, it kind of has its own unique, very practical personality. This isn't just a book of lofty hymns meant for priests in a temple.
No, think of it more like an ancient encyclopedia for living a good, full life. It is packed with everything: spells for healing, advice on farming, charms for love, and, you guessed it, some seriously potent formulas for dealing with the darker side of the world. It's really the Veda for the everyday person, the farmer, the king, and pretty much anyone who felt they needed a bit of protection.
All right, so hidden inside this huge collection of practical knowledge, the text finally gives us the answer we're looking for. It names the exact metal prescribed as this powerful shield against demonic forces and what it calls tantric attacks. And there it is. The metal is Sisa, or lead. This quote is incredibly direct. This isn't just some old folk remedy. The commentary says the use of lead is actually prescribed by the god Varuna, and then explicitly commanded by Indra, the king of the gods, specifically for protection. It really makes you wonder, why lead? Maybe it was its density, its heaviness that made it feel protective, or maybe there were symbolic reasons we just don't fully get anymore. Whatever the case, the text is crystal clear. This was the go-to metal for divine defense. And this is the part that I think is so cool. We know the exact address. We're looking at Kanda 1, Sukta 16. So this isn't just some vague legend passed down over time. It's a specific instruction written right there in the ancient text, telling you to use a physical amulet made of lead. So, the commentary then breaks down the incredible power that this lead armor was said to have. And get this, it's not just a passive shield. It's divinely endorsed, for one, but it's also described as an active destroyer of evildoers, a literal weapon against your enemies, and a guardian for everyone. It's a whole spiritual defense system in one piece of metal.
So the big question is, what exactly was this divinely powered lead armor meant to fight against? What were the threats? Well, the text is actually very specific.
The number one threat mentioned is something called the Pishacha. And the ancient commentary does not mince words here, defining them as a species of, flesh-eating beings. So we're not just talking about vague negative vibes. These are described as very real, very malevolent entities. And this is where the power of the amulet really shines. This verse basically says that the power of the lead is able to suppress, to subdue, and completely overcome these Pishachas and any other destructive creatures that come from them. It's a direct counterattack. So what this all boils down to is that the Atharvaveda was prescribing a physical solution for a metaphysical problem. This lead amulet was a tangible shield, an actual piece of armor you could hold in your hand, meant to guard you against what the text calls tantric obstacles. You can think of those as targeted negative energies or psychic attacks, as well as curses and other evil spirits.
Okay, so we have this one very specific charm. But how does this idea of a lead amulet fit into the bigger picture of what the Atharvaveda is all about? And this, to me, is what makes the Atharvaveda so incredible. On the left, you've got our verse about a lead amulet designed to destroy flesh-eating demons. And on the right, a table of contents that covers everything from medicine and politics to prayers for a long life and success in business. This lead armor is just one tool in a massive toolkit for securing a person's total well-being, physically, financially, and of course, spiritually. And all of this brings us to a final thought. In the ancient world, they looked for protection in a lead amulet. a physical thing imbued with spiritual power. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our modern world, what are the invisible armors that we rely on? Is it our insurance policies, our security systems, our belief systems? What are the modern-day equivalents we use to feel safe from the unseen anxieties of our world?